Our practice test right here. The test is going to be almost identical, of course, different values, and it's going to be multiple choice. Anybody want to see number one? Sure, why not? Okay, let's do number one. So, right here you're just solving. You want to get k by itself. You don't want anything on this side except for k. So, I want to get rid of the easiest, the 5. I could easily get rid of a 5 by subtracting 5. That cancels out. Subtracting 5 over here. And I could rewrite it. It's going to be, let me zoom in a bit here. It's going to be negative 2/5 times 1k plus 1, close parenthesis, equals negative 2. There's your equation. Now, you could either distribute this fraction in, or you could get rid of the fraction by doing the opposite, which would be multiplying by 5. Because the opposite of dividing by 5, that's really saying 2 divided by 5. If you do the opposite, multiply by 5, it'll cancel out the 5 with the 5. But the thing is, you have to multiply everything by 5. Now, don't multiply the inside of the parentheses, because you just multiplied this outside value by 5. Which means, with distributive property, it's like if you already did it to those inside guys. So it's kind of like if they're protected by the parentheses. But you still have to multiply this negative 2 by 5. So you multiply everything by 5. Your new equation is going to be negative 2, parenthesis, I'm just going to put k instead of 1k, plus 1, close parenthesis, equals negative 10. Okay, now at this point, I am going to simplify the left side by distributing negative 2. Negative 2 times k is negative 2k. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2, equals the negative 10. I just bring that down. So I almost have it by itself. I go plus 2, cancels, plus 2. I have a new equation that says negative 2k equals negative 8. And of course, final step would be to divide by negative 2. Divide by negative 2. X equals positive 4. I hope that helps you guys. Be ready for it on tomorrow's test. Number 2, you distribute, you simplify, you solve. Let me jump to something that's more... Anybody want to see number 4? Okay. So number 4, you could get rid of the fractions, and you could either get rid of one fraction at a time, or think of the LCD of all of your fractions and get rid of all of them at the same time. So what would the lowest common denominator of 3, 6, and 2 be? 6, that's right. Now let's say you just didn't want to deal with thinking about the LCD. You could always just go with the biggest denominator and multiply everything by it, and hopefully you get lucky. Because right here, that's the case. If you multiply everything by 6 by the LCD, it will get rid of all your fractions at the same time. In other words, 6 on top and a 3 on the bottom. 6 cancels with 3. You're going to have a 2 left up there. And up on top, you have a 2 times a 2. That's going to be 4. And of course, we have an x right there. And over here we have a 6 and a 6. Those cancel. So what do I have left? I have a minus 1. That comes down. Equal sign comes down. The 6 on top with the 2 on the bottom. You end up with the 3 over 1. So you really just have 3x. 3x. And then the 6 and the 6 cancel out. You end up with a nice beautiful plus 5. Pretty easy, right? Now after that, let's just get the x's to one side. Subtract 3x. Cancel. Subtract 3x. That's because you don't want x's on both sides. So you get x's to one side, you're going to have 1x, bring down the minus 1, bring down the equal sign, bring down the 5, and then solve by adding 1 and adding 1. Cancels, you're going to end up with a 6 on the right side. So what do I have left? I have x, 1x equals, this is a 6, x equals 6. There's my final answer. Let's move on to something more challenging, more fun, like Number 5 is not that fun. All you do is plug in the value of negative 5 right in there and then do the math. This one also plug in negative 2, do the math. Does anybody need to see any of those? No? We're good? Okay. You guys remember 7, 8? These are actual equations, 7, 8, and 9, where you have to do the positive situation and the negative situation. Okay, so the positive situation would be writing it exactly the way it is. Let me put a P for positive. Is writing it exactly the way it is. S minus 7 equals 2. And the negative situation is writing it exactly the way it is. S minus 7 equals, but you change the sign of the right side, -2, okay? So when you solve both of them, when you go plus 7, you'll get an answer that S equals 9. That's one answer right there. When you go plus 7 and plus 7, you'll get S equals 5. That's another answer right there. So setting up the positive and the negative situation, I think, is pretty easy. Solve the nearest, or solve the proportion. You guys understand how to do that? It's just cross multiplying, right? So you're going to set up 7 times 24 equals 3 times C. It's cross multiplying, right? And then you solve the equation. You could use a calculator. 7 times 24, anybody have that already? On a calculator? What is it? 168 equals 3C. So on the calculator, you would also divide by 3, divide by 3. So 168 divided by 3? 56. So C equals 56. So as you can see, these questions you could do pretty quickly. It's been 6 minutes and we've already done several questions. Right here, use cross product to determine which pair of ratios forms a proportion. All you got to do is verify. 2 times 8, that's 16. 4 times 8 is not 16. So it can't be that one, right? 2 times 12 is 24. 4 times 4 is 16. Can't be that one. Because remember, they have to be equal to each other. A over B equals C over D. That means that A times D has to equal B times C. They have to equal each other. So when you say 2 times 20, that's 40. 4 times 8 is 32. Can't be that one either. So it must be this one. 2 times 12, that's 24. 4 times 6 is 24. Those are equal to each other. That's your answer, D. Let's move on to the second page. So I was kind of doing this problem without recording. I am sorry. So let me explain what I've done right here on this work so far. Okay, what I've done so far is that I took the 102.97 and on a calculator I'm going to multiply it by the percent 6.25. But calculators don't do percents, they do decimals. So I take the decimal of 6.25 and move it over 2 spaces, which will give me a 0.0625. There it is, 0.0625. However, if that's only going to give you your taxes. So if you want the total price all at once with the calculator, take your price, put a 1 in front of your decimal. In other words, take your price 102.97 and multiply it with your calculator by 1.0625. Hit equal and tell me the answer. 109.41? Does it keep going? 41 something else? Okay, 40. So the original was 109.40 what? Let's say 5. Let's just say 5. So that third number 5 would make the 0 go up to a 1. So that's why, and especially we do want to round up because we know what cents are, right? So you have to go to $109.41. Now, check this one out. People got confused with this one on the last quiz that we had. It says find the discounted price of the item. Okay, so you want the discounted price, not the discount itself. You want the discounted price. So you go into a store, you see a radio for $47. That's what the ticket says. Now, there's a 40% off sale. In other words, what's the discounted price? What's the sale price? Not what's the actual discount, but I'm talking about the final discounted price. Okay? So keep in mind, discounted price means the actual cost of the radio. And we're not even talking about taxes here. We will have some of those later. But right now, we're just going to go on a calculator, $47. We're going to go times the 40% off as a decimal is going to move it over 2 spaces, so it's going to be 0.40. And could somebody give me that answer? 18.8, okay? And I want to put a 0 on there. Now, what does this mean? This is not the discounted price. this is the discount. This is the discount. So this is not the answer. This is the discount. This is what we need to subtract from the original. So I still need to do the $47 take away $18.80. And on the calculator, go ahead and do that. 47 take away $18.80. And that'll be our discounted price. Again, this is just the discount. But our discounted price is 28.2, so that'd be $28.20. That's a pretty good deal for a radio, $28.20. Does that make sense? So don't get confused with the actual discount. Remember, what you found here was what you need to subtract from the original. So if it were to say, find the discount, all right, that would be finding 1880. But if it says find the discounted price, well, you got to take that discount and actually subtract it from your original price to get your discounted price. Okay. Shall we do one of these? Okay. 16. CD player. Calculator time, ladies and gentlemen. Let's find the discount. So if you have 79.75, and if you want the 10% off on a calculator, what do? Multiply it by 0.1. And you can put 0.10 if you want. Remember, there's a decimal at the end. You move it over once, move it over twice. So it's 0.1. That's really 10%. So 79.75 times 0.10, what is that? 7.975. Okay, so what did we just find right here? We found the discount in dollars. This is the discount in dollars. So what do I need to do to the original price? What do I need to do to the original price? I need to subtract this discount. So let's do 79.75 take away the 7.975. We're going to end up rounding off at the end. So when we do 79.75 take away 7.975, what do we get? 71.775. Okay, so that's our new price. That's our discounted price, taking the 10% off. And now I need to find taxes on that 71.775. So I'm going to take the 71.775 and multiply it by the taxes, which is 5.5%. So you need to change it to a decimal. So you're going to go times 0.055. Go ahead and do that on a calculator. And actually, let's throw in a 1 right in front of that decimal to get the final calculated price, which will be 75.72. So $75.72 is your final answer. Let's jump to solving an equation for a specific variable. So like on number 18, it says solve for f. So you want to get f by itself, ladies and gentlemen. So you have this giant formula or whatever this is, equation. You want to get f by itself. The easiest thing to do is to subtract 8h. That'll cancel out. Subtract 8h. Now, of course, you can't do 2g take away 8h. So let's just rewrite it. You're going to have a negative 4 df equals 2g minus 8h. Okay? So now let's get the f by itself. Now notice, guys, that there's a multiplication between each of these. So there is no addition or subtraction. So if I wanted to get rid of the negative 4d right in front of the multiplication of f, I would have to divide by negative 4d. Does that make sense? And of course, what you do to one side, you do to the other. You divide by negative 4d. So the 4d, the negative 4d up here cancels with the negative 4d down there. And there's your answer. F equals, because f is by itself, and you could just circle this up here, that's your final answer, 2g minus 8h, all divided by negative 4d.